Hi there, I'm Emily McNaughton. It is such an honor. Our paths have crossed. It's never a coincidence, is it? So, I am answering the top questions people have about their intuition according to ChatGPT. And if we have not met yet, it is a pleasure. And I am a professional intuitive. I have over 30,000 hours of energy work under my belt. I've also written a book called Your Energy First: How to Be Your Own Transformational Healer. And I have created two modalities. One is called the Inner Light Framework, the other one is called How to Hold Energetic Space. And what's really beautiful is that both of these modalities are tools that help you get even more clear about what you are meant to bring forward with your unique intuition, your unique energy work in this world. So these modalities are not at all do this my way, or I'm not teaching you like my specific gifts, which are actually skill sets because everything's energy. So you just develop skill sets over time around your energy. What I do is I give you a framework to practice and develop these things within yourself. So let's get started, shall we? First question is, how do I know if I'm truly tapping into my intuition and not just overthinking it? As humans, we operate from our mind. Our mind is so powerful. What makes energy work work? Our minds. Isn't that funny? And the way that we know we are connected to our intuition, I teach the inner light framework. So when you go to your inner light, and you're in step one, step two, then you go to step three. And by the way, steps one and two are critical. They are critical. People will skip over these steps, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we are human, we are figuring this out together. Like, no shade. People will skip these steps and then things don't work or things kind of go squirrely. And so I hold energetic space for them because they are asking me for feedback. And I'm like, I don't know, Spirit, what would you say? And they're like, oh, they're not doing the second part. They're not running energy for themselves. They're using their own energy. They're not asking themselves questions. Okay. So when you use the inner light framework, the third part is when you set your intention, you put energy into motion, right? And what I teach is that you say, I set the intention, I only communicate with my intuition, or I only hear my intuition. And so then you ask the question again, and then what comes through is your intuition. And our intuition is interesting because it comes through sounding like ourselves. It comes through sounding like our own voice sometimes. Sometimes it pops out of nowhere, it's just information that's all of a sudden in our brain, and it takes us a second to process it and be like, well, wait a minute, where'd this come from? So practicing over time, and by you proactively saying, I'm in alignment with my intuition, I'm only hearing my intuition, your intuition has a certain flow and tone of energy. So that when you are in your body, because that's what your inner light is, your inner light puts you back in your body, back in your safe space, and it connects you with the divine directly, whatever your version of the divine is. That is when you know you are in flow, you are in alignment, you're aligned with your intuition. Okay. And as far as overthinking goes, overthinking is our way of being in fear and thinking that we're doing something and taking care of a situation when we're actually not. So, the power of the mind is such an incredible thing. I'm going to be teaching a lot more on it. And when you start overthinking, I want you to actually feel into what brings you home to your safe space. Like, what is your great feeling, your softness, your sense of warmth and love and light, to be cliche, but it's true. That's what you want to find and then nurture your intuition from there. Also, the more you use your intuition, the more familiar you get with it and it becomes like secondhand. Okay, the second question is, what's the difference between my intuition and my thoughts or emotions? So, what's really interesting is our intuition can come through as our thoughts and emotions. So I know what this question is saying. It's saying, well, kind of how do I decipher the everyday thoughts from my intuition? And I actually recommend that practice that I just mentioned. Can you hear my niece in the background? She's waking up from her nap right now. um, okay, with my family, by the way. She's not like doing it alone. And so when you think about the difference between your intuition and your thoughts or emotions, also know that um your body will give you sensations that's coming from your intuition that is in response to things. So if you begin practicing every single day using your intuition, which takes a little bit of training and then works out great, you will then be in a place where you're like, oh, I can see this is my human emotion. This is my human emotion that I'm having: anxiety, worry, doubt, whatever, fear, sense of not understanding, whatever it might be, right? Or PO'dness or rage or whatever. And then you're like, okay, inner light, please help me calm down. Please help me calm down and help me see the bigger path here. What needs to be healed here? What's showing up for me? So again, it takes time and practice. Inner light framework will put you right on track with training yourself to be in alignment with your intuition. There's many other ways too, by the way. And also, if you're not familiar with the inner light framework, I did not invent the inner light. It has always existed. I simply put a framework around it I found has helped thousands and thousands of people, including myself. And speaking of family in the background, it's so funny because over time they've started to develop their own inner light work. Years, by the way. And it's just really fun. It's like really fun that I can now go to someone and like a friend, close friend, or a family member and be like, hey, will you go to your inner light and double check this information for me? So share with alike with people so you can have more conversations like that. Okay. Can anyone strengthen their intuition, or is it something you're born with? Let's talk about the fact that we as a society think people are gifted versus not gifted. It's not true. E equals MC squared. Everything is energy. Therefore, everybody's intuitive and everybody has energy skill sets. Now, I know we call them gifts, but they're not gifts. So if you look at people who play basketball, for example, they probably love basketball. I don't at all. It's like my least favorite sport. No offense to basketball at all. It just is for some reason. And maybe it's all the squeaking. It's just like too much squeaking for me and all the bright lights. I'm like, oh, I need more chill. I need more dim. But anyway, when you think about it, really what we're saying here is we have been taught that like a teacher has to teach us something we don't know, like a tool, right? Or we think, or like a gift, or we think, wow, they just had a huge moment on the side of a mountain and now all of a sudden they can poof, see energies or see ghosts, or they had an awakening of some sort. We want to remember that everybody's intuitive, everybody can do this, and it's a matter of what is your interests. My interests don't lie in basketball. Yours may or may not lie in mediumship or intuition or what energy, what pick the modality. So there's so many different modalities, like there's so many different sports. The only reason I am good at what I do, there's two reasons. One, it is my passion, my purpose, I love it. I love it so much. I love it an insane amount, more than any other human thing in this world. And the second thing is I have decades of practice. I have decades of practice, and it's insane how much I feel like I'm still learning and growing every single day. And that's never going to change. Like, I'm not going to be 86 years old, like, gonna figure it out. No, every single, because when you hold energetic space, which is one of the modalities I mentioned I teach, new things come forward all the time because you're engaged with new people and places all the time. So we will always be learning. So strengthen, yes, strengthen through practice. You can wait for the big like thing to hit you over the head. But the thing is, even if you're someone who like wakes up one day and all of a sudden can like see energy or hear energy, you are still going to have to go through the human process of getting trained on what that means for you. Because like I said, everybody's energy is unique. So you're really developing your own energy language. How do I recognize when my intuition is guiding me? So it's very soft. And when we get those little nudges and we don't listen to them, we're like, well, that was a soft one, so it can't be that important. And then we're like, ooh, I wish I'd listened to it and brought those shoes with me, right? So we always have free will. So our intuition's always helping us, but at the same time, we have free will how we react to it. So one of the things you can do is, again, proactively go to your intuition and ask questions. I do this all the time, or I will also set intentions for how I want my day to go, or a meeting or something like that. And so keeping in mind, you can create the reality of your experience in any given moment and every single day. So instead of you being like, okay, is this my intuition guiding me or not? You would go to your inner light and be like, is this my intuition or not? But also notice when you're getting the little nudges because we tend to wait for the big nudges. We're like, when am I going to get hit over the head and just someone's going to come in my ear, a spirit guide, and give me all the answers? That's not how it works. Again, because we have free will. So, what practices can I use to develop and trust my intuition? Inner light framework. Inner light framework. Also, just feel into your body. Your body will always tell you. Your body will always tell you what you need to know. Your body is one of it's your most sacred vessel. I heard this beautiful saying the other day. I'm sure you've heard of it, but a healthy man has 1,000 wishes, and a sick man just has one to be healthy. And I have come to learn over time. I used to have a very like kind of party lifestyle. I wasn't a big partier, but I went out all the time and it was just kind of what I did. And we just, oh, I can't even believe, it's just like, it's so hard to say, like we eat all this bar food and stuff. Ooh. And my life has done a 180. And it's so cliche, right? I hate that it's so like, oh, I teach people energy work now. And I'm like, whatever. Don't drink and eat healthy. I mean, you can't not. Like you can't do more energy work. The energy work feels so good. Your body physically is like, but now we just don't enjoy this stuff anymore. It's like it just kind of happens. Okay. So those are the tools you can practice. The inner light framework, and then also just feeling into your body. Feeling into your body. How do I use my intuition, i.e., your inner light? I'm just going to start saying inner light now, even though they're saying intuition, to make important life decisions. One of the things I always recommend to clients when I work with them in any of my programs or in the alignment container is to start using your intuition every day for the little things so that when you have a big life decision to make, you are used to having these conversations with yourself, with your own intuition. So you will feel far more confident in making life's big decisions. So, for example, one of my girlfriends right now, she just uses her inner light all the time to help her find her kids' toys. But next time she needs it for a bigger situation, she's going to have a really strong sense of, oh, I know what this feels like. I know how my energy works. Okay. Why is my intuition stronger in some areas of my life, but not in others? Interesting. Okay. I just had to ask, I just held space and asked Spirit this question or the answer because I'm like, why would that be? So, there are times in our life where we are in mind mode. So, think about maybe a job you've had or a job you're in, and you can just do it like that, right? And that's what you do. You show up and you just do the job like that. You know the role you're supposed to play, you know what it is you're supposed to do, and you do it. Great. What's really interesting about that is you are not in your true co-creative flow, which fine. I mean, you need to like keep the lights on and take a vacation and stuff, right? So, but think about how in other aspects of your life you're more creative, you're more in flow. Also, your intuition will come through in work too. I used to use my intuition to help me achieve my sales goals numbers when I was in tech. So you can do that. And it just depends on when you're more in flow with things, you kind of naturally make decisions in alignment with your intuition. Whereas when you're out of flow, your intuition's like, right, reroute, right, reroute, right? It's like when you don't follow your map on your phone or the directions on your phone and it like keeps pinging you and you're like, shut up. I know that if I go left here, it'll be faster. Okay. How can I use my intuition to manifest things I want in life? Oof, I love this. So manifestation is it's when you're one time creating something, right? I want to manifest more money. I want to manifest more lipsticks. By the way, I'm going on a hot tangent here for a second. I know you're like, well, no, 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 tell me about manifestation. I'm going to an ugly Christmas sweater party tonight. And my dad goes, is that the sweater? And I go, Dad, I was like, that's mean. And he goes, I don't know. I was like, this sweater is cute. And I just saw my sweater and it reminded me of that. It was so funny. He's a great guy. He did not mean like anything negative by it. Okay, wait till he sees my actual ugly Christmas sweater and he's gonna be like, oh, I get it now. So when you manifest, you are using energy to create one time. One time. When you become an aligned creator, which is another course that I teach, you shift your life so that you create your life in alignment and are consistently manifesting and having a whole lot of fun doing it. So I wouldn't say you use your intuition. You do use your intuition, but you also you do energy work to get your energy unstuck, unblocked, and in flow so that you are in a constant state of being an aligned creator because that's who you are naturally. And what's funny about manifestation is people can manifest one like you can the reason one of the biggest reasons manifestation works is because people just don't know they can use energy to make shit happen in their lives. Period. But you can. You totally can. All right. How can I tell the difference between fear and intuition? One feels good and one doesn't. Fear isn't real. Fear is so everything, when you're in that moment where you're just like, oh, like life feels good. You're just like, yes, I get it. I'm home. You just have these moments, right? Maybe it's in a meditation or where you're in nature and you're just like, life is good. Life is good. And fear is when and that is your that is your natural state. That is your energy's very natural state. Now, I'm going to talk about fear from this perspective of like, if a bear is running after you, that's real. Have all the fear. Please have all the fear. And on the other hand, when it's just you hanging out in your room and you're overthinking things, we're talking about that kind of fear. Okay. So your natural state is bliss, to be honest. One of the things I teach is how to sit in your light, how to be at your still point, your center point. And they go from worry to it dissipates and they see the bigger picture. There's a oneness with themselves and the world, right? And what's important to realize in that moment is that when you will know you're operating outside of yourself or from just your mind when you feel unnecessary fears. Whereas when you're in alignment, you're like, okay, so from this point, I am here and this feels good. And this is what I know my true north to be. Do you guys know Keith Lee on TikTok? He's a food reviewer. I really like him. And he did a couple interviews and he goes, I was on the floor crying, curled up in a ball. He goes, my pregnant wife was consoling me. And he goes, we had just moved into the place. It was $1,000 a month rent and I didn't know how I was going to pay it. And she prayed over me and said, everything is going to be okay. And I teach energy work and I still firmly believe in the power of prayer. I believe in anything that makes people feel good, period. And he said, I decided I was going to listen to that little voice inside my head. So what he's really saying there is he chose for him, it's his connection to God. I would say it's your connection to your light. And then it's listening to those little intuitive nudges. And as you listen to those little intuitive nudges and you begin to take aligned action, magic happens in your life. But what happens is we listen to all the outer chit chat, right? All the outer noise, all these crazy things people want to tell us that keep us out of our power. Anything fear related that's not real, like a bear running after you, is not of your true self. So when you come home to your true self and you begin listening to your intuition and taking action from there, incredible things happen. Incredible things happen. Otherwise, it's just your mind playing tricks on you based on all the falsehoods you were taught. Yay! Yay! We're human. We're making this happen. We're rocking and rolling. How do I know my intuition is blocked? And how can I clear it? So, our intuition is never blocked. And I know this because I have a lot of people come to me and they go, hey, the inner light framework used to work for me and now it doesn't. Or I feel blocked. What's going on? And so I would go to spirit and I'd say, hold energetic space. I'd be like, well, what's going on? Consistently over time, and this happened with me too, many times, we're not actually blocked. We're expanding and we're up leveling. So, what we used to do, think about the things you used to do to be healthy. Like you probably drank Gatorade, and then you're like, oopsies, Gatorade's full of chemicals. So, we don't do that anymore. You up leveled. So, it's the same with your energy. So, what's happening is your inner light's like, hey, cute thing, hey, cute thing. So, we're going to change things up a little bit because your vibration's expanding and your personal tools are developing. So what you do is you go to your heart space or you go to your inner light and just be like, oh, show me my new path forward. Show me how I meant to use this. Show me how I meant to use my intuition. Every single time. Anytime someone has come to me and said, I'm blocked, 100% of the time, the guides, I held energetic space and the guides are like, doot, doot, doot. And all of a sudden they were like, oh my gosh, yes, I see that now. And they're back on their way. So it's never a blockage. It's an expansion. Anytime you feel blocked, it's an invitation for you to actually think bigger. And sometimes bigger is going back to the basics, the guides are saying. By the way, everything I teach, I am a, what would be a good term? I am a stickler. I don't like the name stickler. The foundation is everything. Your inner light framework, whatever your version of it is the foundation of all things healthy energy that you do for yourself. And it will help you in more ways you could ever imagine. If you're ever wondering what's going on, just keep going back to your foundational framework and get that clear, and it'll set you up. How can my intuition guide me, in a relationship, or find the right people to trust? Oh, I love this. When it comes to trusting people, it is about them showing up as they are and you deciding, does this work for me or not? And sometimes it's an instant and we're like, oops, this doesn't work for me. And then sometimes we've been with someone for 10 years and things change. Or sometimes we've been friends with someone for 10 years and things change. And that is okay. That is the beauty of life. And when it comes to guiding you in relationships, it's so funny because people come to me for relationship guidance all the time, and I don't tap into energy. I hold energetic space. I do not tap into energy. I hold energetic space, and 99.99999 times out of 100, spirit always brings it back to the person. And the lesson's in the person, the lesson isn't in the other person. There's only been 2 times where spirit came through to me, the space holder, the practitioner. The client didn't even ask me about their relationship, and I was like, "This has happened twice." And I go, I was like, I was very mindful about how I rolled this out, and I rolled it out over a series of questions. But long story short, they were in abusive relationships, and I was like, "Are you in an abusive relationship of some sort?" And I said, "They're saying leave, 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 leave." And that could mean emotional abuse too, right? So and they had loved ones to help them. So anyway, but other than that, spirit always brings it back to you. And it's always a matter of what do you want? What feels good for you? How are you tending to yourself? So when our partners are being funny, we're back into ourselves. What do we want? What do we need? And then boundaries, what works for us, what doesn't. The other thing is I've been very intentional about meeting other full-time, practitioners who have been doing this work for years because this work is I don't even know how to describe it. I don't feel like it's anything it's made out to be. It's such an inner journey. And there's just so many intricacies to working with the public in this work. And so I was really intentional about meeting the right people. And at the same time, like I would follow a nudge and someone else would reach out to me. And so things kind of happened in unison, right? So I think we set the intentions and then we continue to make choices in our life about what we know is good for us and then what we know isn't. And the universe essentially goes, oh, okay, or our higher self. I say universe, what I really mean is our higher self. Because if we think about it, when we say like the universe has our back or, oh God, the universe is punishing me, it's all your higher self. It's your higher self working with the universe. So it's you. The power is always within you. For us to say, like, oh, the universe, da, 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 yeah, and your higher self, we can never be fully out of our power. We're responsible for a lot of things. All right. Is there a way to test or validate my intuition? Yeah, do it. Do it right now. Just start using it. And then put yourselves in community with other people so that you can have more of these conversations and you can practice with each other. Of course, I have communities we do that in if you're interested. How do I balance using my intuition with logical reasoning in everyday life? I love this question. Your human safety comes first, always. Period. I love modern medicine. I'm also very mindful about what modern medicine attempts to do to us. Okay, you get the drift. I know you do. What I'm saying is, if someone's in a car accident, do you think I'm just gonna love and light them and be like, I'm just gonna hold energetic space for you and be like, get yourself to the hospital. We're gonna get you to the hospital. Of course, I would do I'd hold energetic space too, but you get the idea. I don't want people like laying bay leaves and healing on someone, like get them medicine and get them healthy. The other thing is when we are working with other people, other humans, and they share things with us that puts them or you in danger, take their word for it. Period. Energy work is a part of the human equation. It is not something like, oh, this is mightier and greater than all of us and solves all of our problems. No, it's a tool. You working out makes you feel really good, so you do it. Doing energy work makes you feel really good, so you do it. But what we don't want to do is think it's going to fix everything. It's an incredible supplement that helps you. But if people say that they're up to no good, believe them. That's like the Maya Angelou quote that I live by. When people tell you who they are or show you who they are, believe them. That has served me every single time. Every single time. It's just it's true. So, one of the things the guides say is energy work follows the logic. They also say energy work is simple, humans make it complicated. But energy work follows the logic, which means we want to be logical about things too. So let's be very real. We are having a human and a spiritual experience, and we want to honor both. Okay. It has been so much fun doing this. I would love to hear what came up for you during this call, this session. And if you have any more questions, I am happy to answer them. Chat soon. Bye.